Hey y'all, today we are going to be talking about the two words, I'm sorry. Hey, it's Brita. Welcome to my channel, the channel where we talk about personal development, primarily for professionals. And today I'm going to tell you two stories about that have happened recently in my own life about the words, I'm sorry. So the first was, this video is about, how to apologize and the impact. How to apologize well and how to apologize in a way that makes things worse, which you don't want to do. The first thing I'll say is it takes a lot to apologize. It doesn't feel good to admit that we messed up, especially when it's not like, oh, I messed up on a pleading or I messed up on a project. It's no, I wasn't true to my own moral code. I wasn't in alignment with who I am or want to be as a person. That's hard to admit. So unfortunately, a lot of people don't. They will make excuses or they will minimize what they did or just not own it. And let me tell you, when you own it, it truly does. It smarts for a second because nobody wants to admit, they screwed up. But when you truly own it, you feel so much better. You feel so much better about yourself. So the first story was, it seems like probably a minor thing, but in the big picture, it's not. So recently I drove from Olympia, Washington back down to Texas with a dog in the car, just myself driving and a very anxious Australian cattle dog. It's a stressful thing to do. I won't be doing it again. And the last evening of the trip, and this is after the check engine lights come on. I had it checked out, but a lot of things had happened. And it was the last evening. I was going to get back to Austin the next day. I am beyond tired. I've just had 6 days of pretty grueling, stressful driving and time and worried about the dog and all of the things. My internal gas tank is on empty. I'm done. So that evening I went to a nice restaurant in Lubbock, Texas, Funky Door, just for those of you in the area. And all I wanted was to have a nice dinner, maybe a glass of wine, and just decompress, relax before the last day of driving the next day. And I walked in, it was early, like 5-ish, and there were like 2 other tables. This place empty. And I walked in and the, 22-year-old hostess at the front, she's looking to seat me, and she asked for my phone number like it was just an of course, which kind of annoyed me because that's kind of a personal thing to be asking, especially when I know it's not for my benefit, it's for yours. And even though I know exactly what happened, some marketing person told the owner of the restaurant, oh, make sure you get their emails, get them on the list. And I knew I can unsubscribe. I just had it. I've had it with, unsubscribing. I've had it with giving personal information. And I was just done. Well, I gave her my phone number. Just kind of, I don't even know why I did. And then, in not a kind way, this is where I screwed up. I'm like, why do you want my phone number? Why did you want my phone number? And she says, well, it's in case people lose something. And that's exactly how I looked at her. Like, girl, you done just lied to me, and I know that's bullshit. It's not because people leave things here. If they leave things here, they will call and get them back. It's for marketing. And sure enough, within 10 minutes, I had an email from them. I was on the list, and here's the offers, and here's... Okay. So it was marketing. Of course it was marketing. And I sat there throughout the meal just feeling like crap because I knew she had nothing to do with this. This wasn't her policy. She didn't come up with this. She was told to get people's phone number. And I had really not attacked her, but I was not kind to her. And it just gnawed at me. It really, it kind of ruined the meal because it just gnawed at me all throughout. And then, of course, I tried to compensate by being really nice to the food server to, prove to whoever that I wasn't a total bitch. And so I couldn't wait to get up so that I could apologize to her. And so I went up front, I made a beeline after the meal, I made a beeline straight for her. And I said, I was not kind to you. And she immediately started, no, it's okay. And I'm like, no, it was not okay. It was not okay. I was not kind to you. And yeah, I was annoyed at the phone number thing. And the manager was standing right there. The manager's eyes are wide open. And I said, but that was not okay. And I am really sorry that I talked to you that way. And this girl was so appreciative. And although it still felt icky because I had done it in the first place, it felt so much better. And what really irked me about the whole situation was that I've been in her shoes. It seems like yesterday, but I've been in those shoes of the food server, of the restaurant hostess, where the customer's being an ass and you're totally powerless. You're powerless to defend yourself. You're powerless to strike back. Like you just have to sit there and take whatever they're giving. And that sucks. And I never wanted to be that person. And my behavior that night, regardless of whether I was tired or not, regardless of what was going on, that was my behavior. And it was not in alignment with who I am or who I want to be. And it felt better after I apologized. But I'm still talking to you about it. It's been well over a week later, and it's still gnawing at me. When we act ugly, yes, it hurts the other person. Absolutely. Absolutely, it hurts the other person. It also hurts us. It hurts us a lot. And we can deny it. We can sit there and minimize and act like we didn't do anything and justify why we did what we did, or it wasn't that big of a deal, or they should have, or I did it because they did. All of the things. A, we sound like a bunch of 5-year-olds when we do that. But B, we act like then it's not harming us to behave like that. And I can assure you that it still is. It still is, whether we acknowledge it or not. That's a pretty simple example. What's more complex is when we are in a more complex social situation or a complex relationship situation where maybe there's something that you own, that you need to own, but it's not even clear how much you need to own. For instance, say somebody that you love, that loves you, has hurt you badly. Sometimes we can get into, especially if we are codependent or we're people pleasers, we can go the other way. We can minimize the hurt, we can minimize what they did, and we can almost grovel. That's not healthy either. When you're like, oh, no, it's okay, even if they don't ever apologize, oh, it's not that big of a deal. When it is, then you're violating yourself. Then you're not having your own back. And that's really dangerous. But I had a situation recently in a very close relationship, one of the really important ones, where I was really hurt. Really hurt. And I still had to apologize for some things. even if it was just that I participated in setting this up. I participated in a situation that my highest self, my true self, would not have participated in. I ignored some red flags. I minimized some things. I told myself, it'll be fine, it'll be fine. It was not fine. It was not fine. And I had to own something a little bit harder. Something that I did in the heat of the moment that wasn't my best self. Those situations are a lot harder because it's important to own your part, but not somebody else's. And not to make it seem like the entire situation was because of your part in it, when that's not accurate. And that, quite frankly, just fuels, in some situations, kind of the gaslighting. So it's okay to own what you need to own with the words and. And I'm owning X, Y, and Z. That shouldn't have happened. I apologize. And this other thing was not okay. Period. When I used to, again, be the people pleaser, which evidently there's still a little bit of that there. When I used to apologize for things that actually weren't my fault, or I would apologize when maybe 10% of it was something that I should own, the 90% not. But ultimately, when I realized the hard truth that actually it's not about blame, but it is about owning your part. And the fact is that had I not had my part, the thing wouldn't have happened to begin with. So yes, maybe that other person did something that was bad. Like, no reasonable person would say, ooh, that wasn't bad. That was, like, anybody would be like, ooh, ouch. Fine. And when you realize that you still put yourself in that situation, or you still participated in setting it up, had you not done your part, that wouldn't have happened. Okay. That's not absolving the other person from their behavior, because they are responsible. Every adult, well, even children, but certainly every adult is responsible for every word that comes out of their mouth, every behavior that they do, and their own energy. They are responsible for that, not you. But when you own, okay, I helped set this up, so what is my part in this? What is my part in this? Because I don't want this to happen again. And if I don't know what my part is, it's going to happen again, right? If I don't acknowledge, even to myself, how we got here and my part in that, it's going to happen again. And I don't want this to continue to happen again. And it's really hard because it sucks to admit I screwed up. It sucks to admit I didn't have my own back. It sucks to admit that I saw red flags and I ignored them. I minimized things. I wanted the fantasy. I wasn't willing to have the uncomfortable conversation. I wasn't willing to stand up for myself. And hence, here we are. It's a really hard pill to swallow. And clearly I haven't perfected that. I'm a hell of a lot further along than I was years ago. This whole situation, well, both of them have also reminded me reminded, because I knew, but reminded me the cost of letting myself get depleted. Okay, when I've had a hard day, when hopefully I won't take another road trip like that, but when I've had a hard day, when I have nothing left in the gas tank, either I can't be around other people if I can't act nicely, or check myself. Shut up. Don't say it. But me being tired, me not having gas internally, is not an excuse to be ugly to somebody else, much less somebody who can't fight back. Also, the second situation, a reminder of the enormous cost of people pleasing, the enormous cost of overgiving, the enormous cost of trying to minimize or avoid uncomfortable conversations, thinking it'll blow over, it'll be okay. Enormous cost to that. So this work is not about never having these situations ever come up in the future, because we are human beings. But if you can prevent more than you did yesterday, that's good. And how you handle it moving forward, the better you get, and the more that you take responsibility quickly and own your shit quickly, the better it will be. And remember how this feels. It doesn't feel good. So the next time that you're in that situation, that choice of, okay, do I people please? Do I shut up and go along? Or, do I say, hey, this isn't working for me? Remember how it feels when things go off the rails. It's not going to feel better. It's not going to feel better. And remember, and of all of the things that you don't do, oh my God, please don't ever say, oh, I'm sorry you feel that way. It's really dismissive of somebody's feelings. It's what that is saying, and somebody has said that to me before, and let me tell you, it didn't go well. Because what you're saying when you say that is, what somebody is saying when they say that is, this isn't real, I didn't do anything wrong, you're misinterpreting it. Even if you think that, my guess is that their feelings have some validity. So just like, if you were teaching a child to apologize and why a child should apologize, it preserves your relationships. It makes sure that you are in alignment with your highest self. It feels good. It feels good to own your shit after the initial, ugh. We don't lose that when we're adults. And just like you would teach somebody to apologize, what would you say? You own what you did, you apologize sincerely, and then, really important, you don't do it again. You stop the behavior. Because a lot of people seem to think that an apology is a license to keep going. Like, I can just keep doing it, and as long as I keep apologizing, I can keep doing it. Yeah, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. So, own it, apologize sincerely, and really do what you can to not do it again. And you don't know who's watching. Somebody else needs to hear you apologize. It's not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of great strength. It takes a lot of strength and a lot of courage to actually apologize. It's the exact opposite of weakness. So, hope you got something out of today. And You can't, just last reminder, you can't control somebody else's behavior. You can control your own. That's all you can control. Okay, take care, friends. Bye.